Injuries are a part of sport, and the NBA is no exception. Every season, the injury bug hits and can derail a franchise for days, months, and sometimes years depending on how serious it is. The sad reality is that all preparation and planning simply goes out the window when players are not healthy. Understandably, some injuries are worse than others, but it's the way in which some of these injuries occur which is the most fascinating. We've heard of the hamstring pulls and the accidental concussions, but when was the last time you heard about a player missing NBA action because of tendinitis sustained from playing video games? Let me introduce you to the 10 weirdest injuries in NBA history. 10. Greg Oden versus the couch. Greg Oden had one of the most promising futures in NBA history before a knee issue derailed his career before it even took off. Before his rookie season, Oden simply stood up from his couch at home and heard a pop in his knee. That pop ended up requiring microfracture surgery and started the unfortunate run of injuries that eventually forced him out of the league prematurely. 9. Andrew Bynum goes bowling. When Andrew Bynum was a part of the Philadelphia 76ers, he thought it would be a good idea to go bowling one evening whilst he was rehabbing a knee injury. He made this list, which means it didn't go well, as he re-injured his knee and never wore a 76ers jersey again. 8. Do not do the dishes. Brad Miller was a two-time All-Star in the NBA, but he's best remembered for his time doing the dishes. Amidst the best season of his career, Miller went home to complete a simple chore, but ended up cutting his finger open, requiring 9 stitches. The craziest part about this injury was it was sustained on the same day as he was named Western Conference Player of the Week. What are the chances? 7. Monta Ellis has scooter accident. Monta Ellis was one of the premier scoring guards during his prime years, but he also has one of the weirdest injury stories of all time. Back in 2008, after just signing a lucrative deal, Ellis tore a ligament in his knee during a low-speed moped accident. Driving motorized vehicles for fun is usually embedded in most NBA player contracts under things you're not allowed to do, but Ellis didn't care much for the rules. Unlucky for him, he missed the entire 2008-2009 season because of it. 6. Vladimir Radmanovic lies about snowboarding. During the 2007 NBA All-Star Weekend, Vladimir Radmanovic wasn't involved in proceedings, but he still managed to sustain a serious injury he had to lie about. At the time, Radmanovic was suiting up for the Los Angeles Lakers and separated his shoulder during a snowboarding excursion he thought was a good idea. Similar to Ellis, Radmanovic ignored the stipulations in his contract, and the Lakers ended up trading him to the Charlotte Hornets instead of waiving his deal altogether. 5. Derrick Rose likes apples. 2011 NBA MVP Derrick Rose was enjoying an apple before bed before disaster struck. Rose was cutting chunks of the apple off with a sharp knife and ended up dozing off with the knife still in his hand. As he awoke, Rose went to reach for a water bottle but sliced his arm open and ended up in the hospital. Several stitches later and he was back on the court, but to this day it is one of the most bizarre ways to get injured we have ever heard of. 4. Latrell Sprewell missed badly. Latrell Sprewell was an underrated scorer during his playing days, and his unspoken success manufactured itself into his own private yacht. It was on this yacht, however, that he would sustain one of the stranger injuries ever recorded. Sprewell was hosting a party before one of the guests had a few too many beverages and had to throw up overboard. The problem was, the guests didn't make it over the edge of the boat in time, and Sprewell was mad. Seething with rage, Sprewell took a swing at the guy and missed, connecting with a wall instead and significantly injuring his hand. Playing for the Knicks at the time, he never reported it to the medical staff, and they subsequently fined him $250,000 because of it. 3. Charles Barkley and the concert. Astonishingly, legendary power forward Charles Barkley injured himself at an Eric Clapton concert in 1994. Whilst enjoying the show, the round mound of rebound burnt the corneas of his eyes after exposing them to body lotion. By all accounts, he accidentally rubbed the lotion into his eyes, causing serious irritation, and the Phoenix Suns were not happy about it as Barkley missed their season opener.
I couldn't see. Y'all joking around, man. I was blind. I was blind for like 3 hours, Ernie.
Before we jump into the top 2 weirdest injuries in NBA history, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. 2. Ice Ice Baby. B.J. Tyler's injury is one of the saddest stories in NBA history. After being drafted by the expansion Toronto Toronto Raptors in 1995, Tyler went to sleep with his knees iced, which ended up causing significant nerve damage. The prolonged coldness to the area ruined Tyler's ability to run and explode, prematurely ending his career before it even started. 1. Stay away from the video games. Simply put, Lionel Simmons has the weirdest injury in NBA history. In 1991, as a Sacramento Kings rookie, Simmons got his hands on the hottest new thing, a Nintendo gaming device. At the time, it was the first system that could move remotely, allowing people to play as they go. Unfortunately for Simmons, he played his far too much, causing tendinitis in his wrist and forearm, which forced him to sit out of a handful of games. The reality is, injuries will always be a part of sport, and will always be a part of the NBA. Often unavoidable, there are, however, measures players can take to keep themselves healthy. As you can see, most players on this list didn't do that at the time, and they've made the Hall of Fame for bizarre injuries because of it. Which of these was the weirdest injury to you? Let us know in the comments. Check out some of these videos that appear on your screen.